In this lesson, we'll build the front fender for our wheel. So we have the geometry for the front tire to be able to use as a basis for our front fender. So I'm going to go ahead and select the polygons, and I've just opened up this group here. And so I'll look in the side view, the left-hand view, and I'll select a few polygons that we want to include here, just taking into account where we want this fender to actually be. So we'll go ahead and choose those particular polygons right here. Okay, and then we'll go to Edit Geometry, and we'll detach those. Let's go ahead and detach those as a clone because we want to leave the tire intact. Okay, we'll go ahead and select that, the new polygons, and just scale them up a bit. And let's go ahead and scale them out a little bit as well. Okay, now we need to do a little bit of shaping. So if we take a look at this, you can see that it angles in right in here. So I'm going to go ahead and select these edges. Okay, just right along here. And let's go ahead and just chamfer those. So go to Edit Edges. Let's chamfer those. And we can change the amount a bit. So something like that. I'm going to just scale this down just a little bit to match up a little bit better with what we've got here. So it's kind of right above there. Right, now I'm going to go ahead and take this edge, one of these new edges, took the loop, hold down Control, Backspace to delete that, and now I want to create this angle right here. So with my top level selected, I'm going to just go to Quick Slice, and let's go ahead and just slice across this. Okay. So you can see where it's cut across there. If you don't want to do that, you can go ahead and select the polygons themselves before you do your slicing. Okay, so let me go back to Edit Geometry. Let's just select those polygons. Get the fender selected here. Select those polygons, and now we'll do our quick slice. Okay, and now we can cut across here. Okay. So now we can go ahead and get rid of those polygons in here that we created. We kind of slice across, and that'll give you that angle. Okay, we probably want to go ahead and do the same thing over here on this side. Okay, so we've got this edge right in here. You can see that that extends this direction. We could just go ahead and take this and kind of rotate it around until it kind of matches up a little bit more. Go back to our left-hand view. Okay. And we'll scale this out a little bit. And we kind of move it down into position. Okay. Go ahead and take away those polygons down below. And then let's go ahead and add an edge loop right in here to kind of fix that curve. So we'll go ahead and go to Connect. And under, let's go ahead and find our Edit Edges. Connect. And we'll slide that down into the middle. Okay, and let's go ahead and just pull that out. Okay, then we can do our little bit of shaping to even that all out. Okay, so now that we've got this kind of roughly shaped into position, I'm going to go ahead and delete half of it. Okay, so I'll go ahead and take the polygons, go ahead and delete this half. Okay, go ahead and delete that. I also want to take it out of the group, so I'm going to go ahead and let's make sure that it's not within that group. Okay, so it's actually not in that group at this point. That's fine. Let's go ahead and change the color so we can see it a little bit better against the wheel. All right, so now we need to create the sort of some of the geometry coming down. And let's go ahead and make sure that we've got this pulled out. Okay, so some of this may have moved as we kind of tweak those lines. So we'll just kind of pull that out. All right, so now we need to create this geometry that's coming down. So we'll go ahead and take basically these edges right here. Okay, let's just hold down Shift and pull those down. Okay, and now I want to pull them across here. If we take a look at the side, you can see where that corner is. So go ahead and drop them right up in that corner. And I want to angle them in a little bit. Let's go to the perspective. Okay, I want to angle them in, so I'll take these and just kind of turn them in, kind of like that. Okay, so we'll angle them in kind of right in the middle of the fork. And then we can move this point to kind of straighten that line out a little bit. All right, once we've got that added in there, we can come in and add a couple of extra lines, kind of slide those up, and then from the side view you can kind of modify that, make that a bit thinner. Same thing over here. Okay, so we can kind of get this into the correct position here. And just kind of straighten that up. All right. Make sure that it's straight from this angle as well. And then we'll take those edges. Okay, this edge right in here. And then we want to go ahead and again hold down Shift, pull that down. And this time we'll go ahead and match it up with this piece right in here. Okay, and we can kind of scale this down a little bit. Scale that down a bit and move it into position. Okay. And then just match up. We've got our points off a little bit. Just kind of match those up. Okay, and then just shape that. And we're just building the shell. We haven't yet sort of added any sort of the thickness or anything like that to this yet. Okay, so you end up with kind of something like that. And then on the back, we also need to kind of bring in this geometry on the back. So we'll take these back edges right here, go ahead and Shift and pull those back as well. Okay, and we'll just pull those in here and scale them down. Go ahead and change the scale. I'll scale those down and it should come in here so it can attach. Okay, and you might need to scale these lines in a little bit as well. Maybe add another line right in here. Go ahead and connect that up and then scale that down. So just create the same thickness that you've got in here. All right. Kind of pull this out of the way here a little bit. And so once you've got the kind of the profile shape built out, we can now kind of add a little bit of thickness to this. Go ahead and scale this up a bit. Let's go ahead and just smooth this out so we can make sure that we know if that's penetrating or not. Let's scale that up just a little bit. Let's go ahead and mirror this over to the other side just by adding a symmetry modifier to this. Okay. And we want to go in the Z in this case. So we'll go ahead and add that. Go ahead and collapse that to an editable poly. And then let's go ahead and add a shell modifier to this rather than a skew. Let's go ahead and add a shell to give a little bit of thickness to this. Okay, that's quite a bit, so let me go ahead and dial that down to something more like that. All right. So now we need to, if we go ahead and collapse this, and convert to an editable poly, we can now start to add some resolution in here to keep these edges sharp. So in this case, I'll add 2, pinch those until they go out to the corners. Okay, this one here, we can go ahead and connect with 1 and just slide it down. Something like that. Okay, on the front here, we can go ahead and do a ring selection and do connect on the front. Okay, and you can preview this at any time by just getting your NURBS toggle there and taking a look at that. Alright, you might want to add a little bit more thickness to that, possibly. But anyway, that's kind of the main idea of building the front fender. You can use that geometry from the tire and get something that matches up with that. And because we've cut this off and we're not smoothing it anymore, and we modify this, you may need to come in and just modify these endpoints a little bit more, because now they're not being subdivided, so you're not going to get the exact same curvature that you otherwise would have if this were one piece. Okay? Alright, so that is building our fender. The next thing we're going to build are the triple trees that connect the forks together and allow us to turn the bike. Okay, so we'll go ahead and work on that next.